Welcome back, everyone, to the Path of the Awenydd, your guide to inspired living using the power of astrology and tarot. I am your big bad wolf astrologer, Blythe Mardrug, here to guide you into your weekly forecast. This week, it's all about opposites, opposites, opposites. We've got Uranus opposite Mercury. We've got the Sun opposite Mars. We have Venus coming up into opposite aspect to Neptune. And not only that, we've got the Sun and Mars also squaring up to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, creating a T-square. Also, we've got the new moon in Libra coming up into the end of this week, and we also have the dreaded Mercury retrograde. Yay! I can hear everyone shouting at the same time. And I'm here to guide you on not only how to survive these challenging aspects, but also to how to thrive through them. So I will see you in a few minutes. Hello Gemini, this is your week ahead for the week commencing 12th of October 2020. We start out this week with a T-square between Mars in your 11th house in Aries, opposite the Sun in your 5th house of Libra, both of them squaring up to Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter in your 8th house in the sign of Capricorn. This opposite of Mars and the Sun in your 11th and 5th house, this big energy happening between them. Mars is usually very outgoing, very direct, and very willful energy. It's our ego. It's what drives us. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's retrograde, so there's a lot of self-doubt, second-guessing ourselves, and it's meeting up with this energy from the Sun, who's our being, who gives us reason, and it's in the 5th house in Libra at the moment, which is our creative side. It's our joyful side. It's our playful side, where the 11th house is set for our dreams and goals and also friendships. For me, this represents a tug of war between wanting to get our dreams and goals out and wanting to get to be creative and to be playful. It needs to be a balance between those. Nothing to say that your creativity could not be part of your goals, and it's just working out those two sides of yourselves, being creative and being able to get to live your dreams. And they are squaring up to your 8th house, which is joint finances, debts, financial contracts. They call things hidden. You've got Saturn, which is restriction, Pluto, which is finding the hidden truths, some power struggles, and Jupiter, which is very energetic anyway, and it's taking all that energy from Mars and Saturn, and it could mean that you're over trying or you're overdoing something within this sector of your life. Now, with your creative side and your goals set, there could be some financial situations where you are restricted in some contracts or some other joint finances that you've got, maybe a joint house, joint bank account, any kind of debts like credit cards, things like that. Maybe it's hindering you in somehow. And Pluto there is just trying to figure out where it's hidden, what it can do to reveal, to get you in a better position. All this is creating tension for you, and the release valve for all of this is in your 2nd house in this void space here, which is like the 4th leg of the T-square, and it's in your 2nd house of personal finances, your personal values, personal resources, things that you find value. It doesn't have to be money. It usually is money, but it doesn't have to be. We have Cancer here, which is your home. It's your inner being, your where you feel most safe, And the second house to me means that you value your home life, your sensitivity. That is one of your most valued traits that you've got. Is being sensitive and being empathetic with other people. So if you just take that into consideration when working with your creativity and your dreams and goals, just make sure that you don't forget yourself, forget that sensitive side of you, especially when dealing with the focus points of your eighth house. I think it will help you out. You also have a opposite of Uranus in your 12th house in Taurus, and Mercury in your 6th house of daily routines in the sign of Scorpio. This is you got the Uranus is the great rebel. He doesn't like to do things traditionally, and which is the 12th house is all about being restrictive, and traditional means such as hospitals, mental asylums, prisons, things like that. Things that keep you, things in society that keep you in check or keep you restrictive. You've got Uranus there, and it's trying to break out. It doesn't. It wants to be free. So I think there's a subconscious need for freedom from what society thinks you should be, and this is marrying up with the communication of your routine or actually your activity, your mental activity with Mercury in your daily routines, your schedules, your service to others. And Scorpio, who actually rules the 8th house, which is where you're having the most problems, is about your sexuality, your hidden things, joint finances. So it's that communication, that activity in those areas where you need to work on. And you just need to be able to make sure that you're clear in this area, in the 6th house. Make sure that you've got a stable routine in place, because Mercury does go retrograde on the 13th, or stationary retrograde. It begins its full retrograde later in the week. So there could be some miscommunications, or you could be just feeling overwhelmed with the routine. Maybe you haven't got it really nailed down, and it's just breaking away from you. So just make sure that you've got that daily routine in place and in check, and that even with Mercury retrograde, that you can do that. Further along, we got the Moon coming into play later in the day, acting as another release valve in Leo, in your 3rd house of communication. So that creative side, that your goals, that it's something to it can be released doing some writing, some maybe journaling, or keeping a diary. It's something personal, something that shows you for who you are deep down, because the Moon is all about putting a light on that which is usually hidden. So yes, doing some journaling will help in this time as well. Trying to figure out where your thoughts are, how to keep it clear with, especially with the joint finances or those hidden things inside. Excuse me. You've also got Venus coming up to trine and sextile to Uranus and Mercury, which is a release valve for that opposite aspect. In your 4th house in Virgo. So those little things that you can do to help out around the house, especially with regards to a loved one. Just tidy up, maybe volunteer to keep do dinner, things like that, just to keep the peace, or to help out in the house. I mean, that could really go with creating a release from that activity, that daily activity, and that wanting to be free from restriction, to get that home life in check, and just being able to do things, enjoy yourself at home, enjoy the finer things. Carrying on, We got the moon moving into your 4th house as well, which is where it likes to be. In Virgo, which likes to do all the analysis and details and things like that. So your home life is very perfectionist. The moon is trining up to the three big guys up there: Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. So it's causing that, it's a really spell for that T-square with the Sun and Mars and those planets. It's saying that mentally, make sure that you've got boundaries, that you set some boundaries, especially with home life and your emotions, and set any boundaries in that joint financial aspect. Or that hidden area within that 8th house. I'm getting asked financial situation. You're trying to overcome something. You're trying to dominate yourself in this area, which is having a bit of an issue or restriction. So you've got this moon energy, and it's saying just make sure that you set a boundary and protect yourself from it. The moon and Venus are also lining up to opposite Neptune, which is in your 10th house of career, and in Pisces, which it rules, so that its energy is amplified. Now, Neptune's all about ideals and being in a dream state, but it's in retrograde, so those things that we see with rose-colored glasses are gone. This is the stark reality of it, and this is why I prefer to have Neptune retrograde, because it shows us how things actually are instead of how we want them to be. So this 10th house is your career. This is your career house, your long-term goals, and also how your reputation in your career or in society in general. So you got that home aspect of Venus and the moon being in opposition with Neptune, so there's need to be a balance between your career and your home life, making sure that that the things you enjoy and that emotional comfort you find at home isn't being overshadowed by the realities of work, and making sure that you've got this cutoff. Everybody's working from home a lot lately, and maybe there just needs to be some kind of set boundaries with how much time you spend on your work or your career in that area. And this opposite, especially with Venus, has a trine and sextile the Uranus, the great rebel, looking to break free from constrictions, is helping you out with that aspect as well. You got a sextile with Mercury, which has gone stationary retrograde today on the well, it went on 13th and still stationary retrograde on 14th. So just need to be aware of any miscommunications that you have. You need to make sure that schedule is tied down, that your daily work routine is set. Your work goals are on point, so that there's no confusion about what you're doing. And then we have the moon moving into the 5th house of Libra and coming up with the new moon in Libra on the 16th, joining that T-square with the Sun, Mars, and Pluto, and Jupiter. Saturn is out of the T-square, but it is still squared to the Sun and Moon, so there is a bit of a restriction with your creativity and with regards to your 8th house area of joint resources and maybe joint time that you've got you have to deal with, or some hidden things, your sexuality, taxes. It's all about that. So you just got this emotional element, this need to balance your inner. You've got the moon and Sun in Libra, which is about balancing your outer and your inner selves as well. And they create this great big huge energy, because you got the light of the Sun, and you got the dark of the moon, and it's all happening opposite Mars, which is like really energetic anyway, and it's all outward, inward. You just need to find a good balance. And here we've got, again, Venus in your 4th house. It's about that that home life, the comfort in the home life, being able to relax and loving where you are at home and the people around you at home. And then later on, at the end of the week, we have the moon going into sextile with Mercury retrograde, and opposite that Uranus. So again, we've got this emotional factor coming in. This how our thoughts affect us in our daily routine, our daily life, and just make sure that because you got Mercury is about the intellect. The moon is about how we think, which influences how we feel, because our thoughts are how we feel, influence how we feel. So we need to make sure that our thoughts are clear, that Mercury isn't confusing what we think is happening to what is actually happening. You have to be very realistic about it. And that inner rebel that's trying to break free, is trying to tear itself away from society norms. So just need to make sure that your mental thinking is not clouded in any way. And that is your weekly forecast. If you like this, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.